Marvel was strict on kabam and we lost out on a lot of cool background arena opportunities. We're going to look at one that was lost out in a moment. More people banned for Battlegrounds cheating, as well as lots of concerns raised about the way the leadership board works. Content announcement later on today, including the Juggernaut buff. And we'll have more on that a little teaser in a second. Early Eternity of Pain rewards. Is it possible to have them early? We're going to have a look at that. And watch your profanity. Speaking of watch your profanity, here's Deadpool with more.
For a long time. Is X-Men the animated series still on?
It's coming back. It's literally coming back in 2 years' time.
Everybody says I talk too much.
They said that about me as well. We're kindred spirits. Make sure to do the usual, hit the like button, subscribe with post notifications on, all that stuff, you know, that we have to say, blah, 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 blah. News time. So we kick off with this. This is really cool. I like seeing these kind of little kind of concept arts and stuff that Gabriel Fazera produces, and this was just fascinating. So this is an arena right here that we could, as players, have played on. But the reason that we didn't get this was that it was trying to get it past Marvel. And that's mostly one of the most difficult things. I know that people go like, oh, you know, Marvel and kabam, blah, 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 blah. But look, I can imagine they have like a lot of problems a lot of the time with kind of convincing stuff. Especially when it comes to like Marvel games in the very early stages. Gabriel Fazera said that the Noah arena had the champions fighting on top of a moving spaceship. And it was called Road to Nowhere. Very clever. It was refused by Marvel at the time because they wouldn't be able to breathe in space. Saying Marvel that, you know, breathing in space with Yondu and Star-Lord. So remember, say Marvel, they could have that little thing that they put around their heads that allowed them to breathe. But this brings up good news because it looks like, and as Gabe says here, one day we might do something like that when it comes to spacing, but we've been working on a couple new environments and we intend to keep making more. Excellent. That's one of the great things about like having those. If you're doing a lot of arena fights, you want to see more different backgrounds because it just becomes quite kind of annoying and you just like, oh, this is not really exciting. But what would be really cool is down the line if we had some kind of like interactional based environments. That would be really cool down the line. But again, that just like depends. I think there wasn't there like rumors that kabam were actually going to do that. We'll have to kind of see down the line. But yeah, certainly interesting learning about how we lost out on the opportunity to have this background because Marvel can't see breathing in space yet provide other things like tech to allow it. Marvel do be weird at times. Next up, and watch your profanity. Quite literally, because you can't have a name that contains profanity, and even when you put the name hello. Hello. Yeah, it's contains profanity. Maybe it's maybe because it's got hell in it. I don't know how kind of like, you know, restrictive it is. I found a few people kind of reached out to me and say that, you know, it's something of an issue. And there's something that I've tried naming your character, name contains profanity. Maybe it's not a warning, maybe it's a suggestion. Maybe it could be. But yeah, this actually turns out that this is actually a bug. As kabam it says here, yep, there's a small issue that the team was able to make a fix of pretty quickly. Things should be back to normal now. So if you are making a new account, whether or not you're doing it because you want to see what a new account brings you. I'm doing it to do 2 video series, one being units and collection and main account, and also what the gifting crystals, great gifting crystals does to an old account and how it can elevate an account and also elevate new players. But that's something that's going to be more of a December and long game with it. But I'm sure people are going to be doing that, you know, safe gifting as well between you and an old account. That's something to mention. Also, quickly on to another story, which is rewards for Eternity of Pain. As a lot of people were talking about over the last Eternity of Pain and going into this very early one, the ability to collect rewards, yes, it's a timely thing. Like if you've done the gauntlet, the final kind of like week, which is next week, it does mean that you're really chomping at the bit to grab yourself the rewards. But you end up having to wait about 3 weeks to get them. So you kind of feel like, oh, I've done it in week 1 or day 1, and you're like, well, I really would like to get the rewards. What's happening with that? Can I do that? at the moment, it looks like it may be a no. Like last month, it was like, you know, we've taken it to the dev team, we're certainly discussing it. Changes won't be implemented for the Eternity of Pain, but will definitely be considered for future runs. And it's one of these things where, yes, on paper, it looks like it's very easy, but it depends on what damage it does in the background to stuff for kabam. And this leads to a follow-up on this in that Kabam Jack says the dev team explored a couple of different alternatives to reduce the wait period for rewards. They worked with some of our content creators to try and find suitable solutions. They determined that there is no approachable solution that will satisfy everyone, and that's true. Like, I saw what they were planning, and I personally kind of like felt that it was going to be negative towards people if it was put in. I do think that it's something that should be road shopped with people, like the entirety of the community, not just content creators. But it would be there would be negative effects. This is what I'm going to say. I'm not allowed. I don't think I'm allowed to kind of like go into details of what it is. But let's just say it would negatively affect the player and the player base as a result. There'll be some good caveats to it, but it's like it would negatively affect the player base is the kind of point. Some have suggested a store that allows summoners to purchase using incremental acquired currency, but that would be a large undertaking for the dev team. Additionally, as Dean has pointed out, attempting to implement an alternative in a short turnaround could spell disaster where bugs are concerned. So yeah, I think it's probably best that we stick with what is fine and is not going to cause issue until, say, the next run of Eternity of Pain, if Kabam are running it after the end of the year. As look, this game has a lot of bugs as it is, and making it even worse is just going to be, there'll be just more things to complain about. We want to look about the good, the future, because we've got a positive new day today, because we've got lots of new content coming in. Next up are more bans in the Battlegrounds. As like you know, Battlegrounds prizes have been and gone out to players, and the top 100 of the leaderboard is constantly changing. A ban wave went out on the 27th. As Kabam Mika said, there was a ban wave that took place before the rewards went out, but our current tech was not able to remove them from the leaderboards. This is something that we need to work on. Those that were banned for cheating will not receive rewards. As well, I think that people still get to keep their accounts. I don't know. They're not permanently. Are they permanently banned? I don't know. It's kind of odd because it's like it says will not receive their rewards, but does it imply that they can come back to their accounts? I don't know. The wording kind of gives you that idea. In any case, as for those that were knocked out of the top 2,500 by players that use mods, we'll be adjusting the rank rewards to account for this. For example, if there was a ban in the top 10, then 11 will get the top 10 rewards. This might take a little while. Additionally, we're not finished distributing the rewards. TLDR, the in-game leaderboards still show players that were banned. They did not receive rewards. Players they knocked out of their bracket rank will get the rewards they should have earned. The problem with that is, again, the still issue with this is if players still cheat, how it affected and how it impacted on players when they were playing the mode is still something there's a lot of things with this game mode that needs to be addressed in order to make it fair, but there's a lot of work still needs to be done with it. But yeah, this and rewards went out. Lots of stuff still to kind of like be dealt with it, especially because like a few players are saying that their kind of like placement has not kind of like changed. I don't know. I think that, as I said, there's a lot of work still to do with Battlegrounds, whether it be how they make it fresh with the node system side of things, how other champions, older champions, and any kind of other champions having value in the mode is still a kind of a good case as to, like, you know, you've got a 6-star version of Drax, for example. Like, is it a case you bring in your strongest? Is it a case you bring in your more diverse? Is it then turning a bit too much like Alliance Wars? How masteries impact on the game mode itself, and having suicide masteries versus having, say, a normal set of masteries? Is that going to be something that is going to impact on the performance of the attacking player if they have suicide masteries versus someone that doesn't? Is it detrimental as well? There's a lot of variables still to be considered, and there's a good reason why this is still in beta. But I'm sure a lot of players are excited to see this game mode return, especially in the fall, which September, October time maybe. Yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on Battlegrounds? Put in the comments section when it comes to this. Do you think there's still more work to do? Are you happy where it is? Be interesting to find out. Oh, just an ending point. You can tell that the bans went out, especially when one player asked this question: has anyone managed to rescue a permanently banned account? If yes, how? And the final thing that we're going over in this news show today is all about the Juggernaut buff. Oh, new content announcement day. 10 AM PST today is when all the information drops. From side quest information right the way through to the main quest, main information, main release update information, and as well the new buffs, new buff for Juggernaut. And that's the big exciting thing everybody's excited about. A lot of people have a lot of expectations for this, which is a big problem. It's a good and bad kind of like problem to this. It's good to create hype around this, and as well, like someone saying, I want a mag level overhaul. I think we all do. The big problem with the buff system is that it doesn't create some unique and fun champions. Yes, it did at time, but then it just kind of like slipped away from anything that was meaningful. And yes, I think that Kabam have been stung by the hood and guillotine situation of you've changed this champion too much to a different way that it just takes away from what's fundamentally fun about the kit. This is why going back to these old champions and creating new things with them shows in a massive spice up. The same way that if Kabam went back and beefed up Iron Fist, Superior Iron Man, to name but two, it wouldn't matter that they'd be going, oh, well, I'll take away regeneration from the kit, because you'll be adding something new to it that is so fundamentally amazing that would just kind of, you know, brush it by the wayside. Like you could literally take something that is clay and then add more to it and kind of mold it in a certain way. The difference is with characters like Guillotine and Hood, they're already molded in a certain way. They have credentials about them and abilities that are really good and the players resonate with. In any case, I digress. That's the expectation they're largely going with, and a lot of people have kind of like said, oh, you know, this is the kind of stuff that they'd like to see. They like this, this, and this. The biggest thing to mention with Juggernaut, he is meant to be a Juggernaut. He is an unstoppable force. I saw some images. Yes, this was cool. So back in the day, there's loads of kind of like fighting games. If you've kind of like been in the arcade as I was as a kid, you would see like loads of like, you see Juggernaut on screen and stuff, and it would just be like, and also like when I see him in the TV shows, it's just, yeah, just a force to be reckoned with. In any case, a little bit of a teaser, which from Kabam Juggs says, hey summoners, excited to share that if all goes well, all goes according to plan, we will have the Juggernaut returning in info posted tomorrow. And by that, what he means is like today, 10 AM PST. This type of thread always makes me a bit nervous, with everyone throwing out their own ideas and building up their own ideal versions of the character, which is a problem. This is where expectations can potentially overinflate, but we're excited for you to see the changes that have been made. The content creators seem to be pleased with what they've seen so far. Yeah, so I've done my video, I've pre-recorded it, and yeah, following that same vein, because without revealing anything and getting myself into trouble, I am pleased with what I've seen. I'm pleased with what I've seen. But the biggest thing to say is like, it's on paper. It's not the champion ready to go. On paper, looks good. Pleased. But it's not, this is not Tuesday next week. Tuesday next week, when a new update kind of comes in, we get to test then, and we get to find out. That will be the big test. Yeah, I can vouch for that. I'm pleased with what I've seen as well. So more on that at 10 AM PST on this channel. We're doing a dissection, a little bit of comparison with the in-game stuff. So we've got like a good kind of coverage. So yeah, check that out later on. It's going to be a good day. Lots of announcements, lots of cool things on the way for the month of August. And we just end by saying thank you to we just end by saying a massive thank you to those that support the channel as a YouTube member and as a patron. You're on screen right now. Thank you so much for keeping the love and support to the channel. I look forward to delivering some more live streams very, very soon here on YouTube. Also, there's support on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. Thanks very much for the support on yesterday's live stream. We did a little bit of Fall Guys and a little bit of Warzone. Less said about the Warzone, better. And tonight I will be live streaming some Fall Guys and some MCOC if I can do something with that one, but I'll try my best. I will see you then. And as I said, come back later on. Lots of spicy information is going to be dropping. I will see you. I will see you later on. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye for now. Tatty buys. Tatty buys.